Hi, and welcome to another edition of Father and Son Getting It Done. I'm the father, and behind the camera is the son. Well, today we've got a broken down lawnmower. This is a Honda. It's a Harmony 2. It's a little bit older model, but my drive clutch, or the cable clutch for the power drive, went out. So today I'm going to show you how to do this. It's a pretty inexpensive fix. It's also very doable if you know how to use just a few basic tools, and it'll save you a bunch of money, and it'll get your mower back up and running. So we only need just a few parts. I just got on Amazon, and I'm sure you can find these pretty much anywhere, but I did find this one on Amazon. It was less than $20, and it's a new cable, and we're just going to replace the whole cable because on this leveler it broke right at the top. And so I figured it's a easier fix to just order a new cable. So we just need the new cable. The other tools we need is just a socket set with a 10mm size on there, a crescent wrench, and some lineman pliers and some cable tie wraps. And so I'll go ahead and show you how we do it. The first thing we need to do is we need to take off the old cable. So the way we do that is the cable runs from the drivetrain right here and runs up the side of the mower up to your throttle. And this throttle also has a clamp on it that controls the bladed engage as well as the cable for the drivetrain. So we need our crescent wrench and a number size 10, and we'll go ahead and loosen this cable. So you don't have to take this whole attachment off, but just make it so that it's loose enough, like that, to slide the cable out. Once we got the cable out, they usually have just those plastic tie wraps, which we'll use to put back on after. You can just pop those off, or I'm just going to slide these through, and the cable's pretty much free now. Now I'm going to flip the mower on its side. And one trick that I like to do is, if you can drain the gas or use the gas and it's empty, then you won't have gas spilling all over. But if you do have gas in it, make sure your cap's tight. And this is where the air filter is, so I like to turn it the opposite way. Otherwise you don't have gas running into your air filter and you don't have a problem with that. So I'm going to flip the mower on its side now, and that'll expose the bottom of the lawnmower. Now this cable runs through the top of the lawnmower down into this contraption here basically, and that's what runs the drivetrain. So we need to be able to get to it, and there's just a few bolts that are keeping us from getting into this area here. So we have to remove this plate, and there's a bolt here on the top behind this wheel, one there, one underneath, and then one back behind. So if you've got an extension with your socket set, that'll be helpful. Otherwise it's going to be hard to get into the bolt that's back behind here. Now just before I started this video, I loosened up the bolts so it's a little bit easier to take apart. But once you get in the back there, you just take the bolt out, and you undo the bolt on this side, and this one is a little bit trickier to get to with the wheel, but that removes this piece, and then we're able to take the rest of these bolts out. Got that one a little bit tighter. We'll go ahead and rip these bolts out. And then on this one, obviously, I took the extension off so I could reach it. And you'll be using your socket set, or the socket wrench, for that. Okay, now we're able to remove those two pieces, and it exposes where now I can get my hand up and in there. Now this is kind of the trickiest part of the replacement. When we open this, let's open this new cable up, and you're going to see there's on the one end of it, there's a slot, this little metal slot here. Inside this, there's like a little finger that slides inside, and as you pull on the cable, it pulls the lever up and down, and that's what engages your drivetrain. So this is the hardest part. Unfortunately, I cannot get the camera up behind, so you won't be able to see this part, but you're just gonna have to feel with your fingers. It's just a little lever, looks like this. You just pull it back, it's on a spring, and it will release that little slot. And so you don't need any tools, you just need your fingers to be able to do it. So when I reach back here, I will find where it's connected, and you just kind of pull it back and release it, and that released that other slot. Now there's a little washer here, and you'll notice that there's a plastic bracket. There's a little bracket where this washer fits in, and that holds the cable tight to the mower, so that the cable can go up and down like that to engage up to the lever. So this washer here, when you put the new one in, these little spring clips are going to lock it into place. But we have to remove this washer first and then slide it back into the little slot. And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you're able to get up and in there. So the first thing we're going to do before we remove the cable off the mower is we've got to release this washer. So I'm just going to use my lineman pliers and pinch the spring together, the little plastic part, and gently slide the washer up and out. You'll notice this washer has a slot in it so that you can put the cable, the new cable, through it, put it into the little bracket, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It just slides into a little U bracket, and then you'll just snap it into place. And that part will make a lot more sense when you actually can get up and in there. So now we're to this point, we can just remove this old cable. I'm just going to feed it up through the top of the mower. And then that one is done. Now we'll take the new one, and it's a lot easier to feed it through the top side because this here is smaller than this spring, so it fits through. So we're going to feed it through the top part until we get to this point. Then we've got the washer. It's going to go through the cable, and now this washer, you can see the new springs there, will snap into that washer. So that's how that works. So the next part is we got to attach this back to that little finger, and if you just reach back up in there, you'll be able to find it with your finger, and it's on a spring, so you just kind of use your finger to pull it up and then put that slot in there. Okay? So once you do that, you basically just put everything back together in the mower. Put your plates back on, and then we'll turn the mower back up. But I won't take the time to do that because I'm going to show you one other thing on when you go to put the cable back on up here. So those plastic tie wraps that I showed you, those cable ties, you can just cable tie it back together. You don't have to put it back into this little bracket like this. And you'll notice that there's a lot of play here. So depending on where you've got a little bit of slack here, put the spring back into your lever like so. And then I like to go up to just kind of see how much cable I'm going to need to be pulling out. And then when you release, you see how that kind of popped up? You don't want that to happen, so push that down just a little bit so that your cable will go up and down freely like that. Then just bolt it together. And that's pretty much it. So it's a pretty simple fix. It'll take you probably about 15-20 minutes depending on how hard it is for you to get to those bolts and to get that cable put back on. But that'll save you quite a bit of money from having to take it to the lawn care shop and get you back up and running. So hopefully this is helpful, and thank you for watching, and until next time, this has been Father and Son getting it done.